We're going to talk about the bane of teaching sometimes, and that's collaborative grouping. It's something we all know we should be doing. The number one skill that employers are looking for is the ability to collaborate virtually. If you read any business publication, what our schools get hammered on is we're producing students who don't know how to work together. They get into the workplace and they cannot work with others. You know on your evaluations, you can only be a master teacher if your classroom is more student-led, and that requires working in collaborative groups. So there's one part of you who says, yes, 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 I want my kids to learn these skills. I want my kids to learn how to work together. And then there's another part of you that says, but it's chaotic, but they don't get any work done. But some kids don't do any work and the other kids do the work and then they get the recognition for it, right? That's the balance that we try to reach as teachers. So what we want to share with you are what are some practices. It doesn't mean collaboration is going to go like butter. It just means this will improve your chances of having successful collaborative activities. So the first thing I would like you to do is have a conversation with your partner. And I want you to just share, because we've got these stories and then some, right? I want you to share with your partner what's one group that you put together. You know, you put your classes in groups for some activity and it just worked. It was like, why couldn't my principal come in and observe me now? I want a film of this. This just was perfect. And then please share a story with your partner about the other kind of group, the groups that, you put them into groups and it just went to pieces. So Christine, are you going to tell me a good story or a bad story?
I'm going to tell you a great story.
Oh, good, good.
Okay, so I'm a fourth grade teacher, and I put my children into groups because we were learning about North Carolina history and why North Carolina was established. So before groups ever started, I think what made it so successful is that we talked about what each group would be doing, and we talked about the roles that each team player would have in their group. So each group member and what exactly that group member was responsible for. And then we also had a model of what a group should look like while the group was being run. So then once they broke into groups, I saw all of this amazing work being done. And as I walked around and monitored their groups, and then we came back together and discussed all of the things that they learned. And it worked really well, and it was beautiful.
So what were the things Christina did right? She had her expectations very clear. How do groups work together? Everybody had their job to do. And you said you had a group model. Was that on video, or was that you had picked some kids?
I picked some kids to come up and show me what a group should look like. That was working well together.
And everyone watched as they did that.
Everyone watched.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So this was, we were doing a science project in a 5th grade elementary class. And so I had done the prep work for the project, and I had split the kids up into groups, and so everything was going very well. And then as I gave the instructions out and we started, I had one child that didn't really he just was not doing anything. He was sitting back in his chair, he had his arms crossed. And so the other students were kind of noticing this, so I went over and I said, what's the problem? Let's do this project. And he said, I'm just not feeling like it. And so I tried to talk with him, but by this point the other students were getting a little bit rowdy, asking why they had to do the project if he was not having to. So it ended up not going very well, near as good as I expected.
I'm sure as you're watching this, you're thinking, yeah, I've had lots of students, because students come up with a lot of cons why they don't want to work in a group. Whether it's they're introverts and they don't feel there's enough time for them to think before they're expected to produce, right? In schools, I think we're pretty guilty of not recognizing that some people just can't get in a group and start working, right? I need time, give me a minute or two to think, so that when I open my mouth, I don't sound like an idiot, right? But oftentimes we don't build that in. Other things that kids do, we would have to ask questions. So you're not feeling it, that gives me no information. So let's say the student's name was Tom. Tom, sorry, I get you're not feeling it, but it doesn't give me any information. What specifically aren't you feeling, or what specifically is stopping you? I found that, how different kids have different personality types, that perfectionists oftentimes have trouble working in a group because the group doesn't bring the work up to the level that I need to feel like I'm accomplished. And I don't ever want to not be perfect. And if I work with you, I know you're not, you just fool around all the time. Or I think that I'm going to do all the work and you're going to get credit for it, and I get tired of you getting credit for it, right? So what I used to do with perfectionists, I would say, all right, so, these are all your reservations. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to just go sit in that group. You don't have to contribute right away. Come back and tell me what's not working. So I found a way that kind of engaged where they were at that moment, and that was like a bridge to get them in, because what are they doing? Now, the rest of the class is not seeing them being off task. They're on task. It may not be they're not contributing just yet, but that's okay. In education, we get kids there by little steps, right?